Oh, I've heard that you guys are not so happy with the AI's expansion. Well, that definitely should be better. But thinking about that, I actually found a mod, a not so popular mod, so you can check it in the video description, that is actually adjusting the AI's aggressiveness. It is adjusting the AI's aggressiveness from 1 to 5, how aggressive the AIs will be to declare the war, and I decided to run a time lapse taking a look if actual AI's aggressiveness is the main source of the, how AIs are behaving, if it's gonna solve all of our issues, or maybe it's gonna solve it a bit. Let's see the actual results and how much we'll see of the conquest from these AIs. Enjoy the timelapse for the next few minutes, and then together we'll look around the world and see what actually happened. Well. France and Bohemia, they split Germany between each other with a bit of England in between them. But France also embraced Portugal. Just look at this. With fairly strong Norway, that's one of the strongest Norways that I've seen. Same as Wielki Novgorod that decided not only to go a bit into Russia, but also Scandinavia, Livonia and Lithuania, but they're nowhere close to from Russia. While Moscow is actually not so far away, they would need 200 more locations, if only they went after Novgorod, but as often, they just allied each other instead. Georgia seems to be doing really well in this time lapses. They not only went into Armenia and Kurdistan over here, but they went into European lands, into the steppes to embrace it. Here in Persia, Chobanids, I think they are not so far away from forming Persia. They cannot form Persia, and they cannot form Ilkhanate. While Injuits over here, they would be needing 100 more locations for that. Ormuz actually nicely expanding, but that's mostly Punjabi revolutionaries that we are seeing here, which you saw Punjab was really beefy with probably over 100 million of total population. That's probably the first time that I'm seeing Mamluks really expanding. As you see, they not only went south into Nubia, they did take more terrains in Arabia, and they did expand a lot into Anatolia and a bit towards Europe. New World is interesting. That's not France, that's French colony. I'm answering your questions from the comments already. That's colony of Patano. And most of these nations already went free. They in the disaster that it is for the colonial nations in this age. But if you look at the cultures, you'll be able to understand who actually colonized it. You see there's plenty of England, Naples, there's Milan as well, France. But definitely the strongest colonizer is Castile. All of this colonized. And we've got Canadian Poland. These guys were at one point a Polish colony. If you talk about Poland, even though it's super small and seems to be big, they still have 10,000 of base tax and 9 million population. And 10,000 base tax is only a fourth of what France is doing with 100 million of population. How about Africa? You see, we've got still Mali Empire living there and Morocco, but we also got Naples, but it's not Naples itself, but more like their colonies. If you switch the map mode settings, this would be probably a bit easier to explain that to you. Yeah, you see these are mostly Naples colonies. This used to be an English colony, but they broke free. Same as these guys were Castilian and these guys were Catalan. Somalia actually got formed and they're not so weak, 6,000 of base tax and 10 million of people living here. And coming back to India, you see it is a bit of border war, but we've got strong Hoysala and Sultan of the Bahmanis that are still a subject of Delhi. That shouldn't be happening in game. Orissa is not so bad, and we've got a very strong Daiviet that not only united most of Indochina with 21,000 base tax and 44 million people, but also did go into Philippines. About Indonesia, Majapahit is still alive, but Luwu seems to be the most aggressive one in that region, and they managed to expand all over here. While in China, we've got absolute border war, probably the worst, where Yuan still exists, and Suryo is still their subject. While there's also Big Suzu over here and Hada up north. Timur had a good start, but then you see they will steadily decrease in their size and then migrated to the Siberia, while Gurgan migrated towards Kazakhstan, while starting around North Persia. But yeah, let me show you a few of the maps. This is the map of cultures, especially we zoom in and look at this here. That's the map of religions in the locations. Lutheran practically not existing, mostly the Catholics also taking over Africa. And if you look at the religions of the nations, yeah, there will be not that much of a difference. That's literacy really high across the whole world. Like we've got some nations at 80, England being super behind at being at 50s, here is still at 30s. And Timur not doing so good job around here. And that's actually Astrakhan. How's EU with all of this expansion? See, France not really having any issues. Mamluks having a bit of issues, but it's not really antagonists. It's from expansions, antagonists from just them not liking them. This is the location ranks. Plenty of cities, definitely not so historical with the city spam, but that's the general meta. And AI at least somehow understands that cities are so useful. Look at India, it's one big city, and because of that they definitely don't have issues with control and it being really high across all of the locations. If you compare it to France is also not doing so bad. In general, late game is definitely super high control of everything thanks to railroads and proximity cost stacking. Finally, these are the markets, in case you're wondering how AIs handle that. And if you look at the ledger, the highest incomes is France, Castile, Bohemia, Mununkata, which is I think in the... oh, it's actually in Japan. Suzu, Goryeo and Egypt. While if you look at the highest populations, we've got China, we've got France, we've got Yuan, we've got Punjab, Mamluks and another nation in China. But this is it. Honestly, I'm not so impressed with the results of this time lapse. Definitely more expansion than in vanilla, but you see in general that also kind of answers us the problem that the aggressiveness of the AIs is not the biggest issue over here. There's still so much stuff that has to be adjusted in order for AIs to actually railroad historically. I think the lucky nations is still something that we should consider for the game to allow that to happen, even if it means AI is pretty much cheating to get the better bonuses. In some situations like the Ottoman ones, I think they should consider making the bonuses for the Ottomans even stronger when it's AI compared to the player. And then for the border guard, one of the changes that EU5 did compared to EU4, in EU4 you couldn't take location if you didn't have call ring range for it, unless it was a province bordering your subjects. Here you can take any location and you can integrate any location, which yes is historical, it happened, but it is also I think the biggest reason for the border guard that you are seeing, on top of the fact that just we have so much granularity of locations. So there should be also, in my opinion, some modifier that will let the AIs prioritize taking full provinces, not just locations here and there. Let me know your thoughts, and if you enjoy this kind of the videos, and if you subscribe to the channel to get notified about more in the future.